part of this is, let's go back to assignments, and we'll look at like assignment 2. And I can make this bigger. I made it smaller because I was reading news things, and I guess the huge type was a bit annoying. So this is when it says there's 2 of these things. One is draw some sort of a face, right? And we're going to look at the graphic things. This is exercise 3, so it will be. I said page 120. I didn't use my same naming convention. I should change that. But so these are for chapter 4, objects and graphics. So that would be 4.3 and 4.2 in there. We're just playing with the graphics. The graphics Pi library you're going to need. And the place to find it, I had a link to it, but I changed that because the link wasn't working. So it's in the files, right? So it's in, if you look in Canvas and go to Files, it'll be there, Graphics Pi. So what you want to do with that is download it. So if I click on it, it's going to display it, but we don't really care that much about it. What we want to do is download it. So I'm right here. I'm going to click on download. And so we want to save it. And basically, it goes to the file folder or the download folder. So you can do view downloads if you want. Let's go. I'm going to go to the download folder. I'm just going to go here. And I will zoom Windows for a moment.
The download folder
in on your machine.
Oh, like not in Canvas?
No, it's not in Canvas now. Once you've downloaded it from Canvas, right? So you go to Files in Canvas, and then you download it, and it goes to the download folder on your machine. And what you want to do is copy it and put it wherever your Python files are. So my Python files, let's go there, are in Documents, Python Programs, and you want to just paste it into that folder. Just so we copied it, just paste it into that folder. Wherever you're doing your Python programs. It just needs to be where I can find it. And it's a whole lot easier just to put it in that folder than it is to put it somewhere else and try to write a long path to it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, you won't have all these.
Oh.
So you'd want to go to your downloads folder first. And then you copy it. And then wherever so I have one ITC 110 and I have Python programs. These are all my sample programs that I've done.
Right.
And then you just want to paste into here.
So this, I only got one, whereas you got 2.
I've got 2 because I downloaded it twice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I already downloaded it. I already pasted it because I was playing with this to make sure I don't. You guys all got that then? If not, I can come around. So if I look at my folder list here, I have Graphics Pi in it. And then I'm going to, you got it? I'm going to open Graphics Pi. You don't need to do this, but I just want to show it to you. It's just a Python program. It's got a lot of comments. These 3 quotes are a special kind of comment that you can use for documentation. There's certain utilities that can extract these into a document. But so it's GraphicsPy, and basically what it tells you is that it is a it's a wrapper for Tkinter. And it gives you a long introduction, and then it gives you version notes, and then it goes through and it gives you all the code that is available. You don't need to ever open this if you don't want to. I just wanted to show you what it looks like.
It from the editors?
I just clicked on it. Double click it, maybe. You don't have to open it to use it. All
I
right.
saved mine in where I save everything else, but it's not showing up on the PS
You should. It's in the same folder. Maybe refresh.
I found it.
What I would do is like that. Click out of here. So, you just click that.
You change the name. So, yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I can't remember the side. I didn't run that good. I don't know how to run it here. It's not seen how. So the one you did today, so
Oh, that's,
so one about here,
That's from last week. That was the integer, right?
I think it might have
so you have to have the, textbook in there.
I wasn't there.
You basically just like copy the program and it has written down, and then you.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a conversion.
Oh, like the Celsius to,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's in the book.
So we need to install.
Just getting chilled. Just got chilled. I learned how to make it bigger.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. 2 hours. First time I feel like maybe Beacon Hill, just like 1 hour. It's still possible. I take bus and then transfer to another bus and then transfer to the train, then bus, and then I can get.
Where?
Beacon Hill.
Sure, there.
But if you take bus, it's another thing. You have to transfer all the time.
Right. It's in these, like, basically, which part? Like the Metro Rail, it's right there. It's probably 20 minutes from
Yeah.
here. I live in Columbia City, which is
Little
two stops.
closer.
Two stops.
That's my plan.
Yeah.
Now I live in Bellevue, still 1 hour drive.
You live in Bellevue now?
Yeah.
Bellevue is cool. Well, you should have to study. You take that in 541?
I think that I-90.
Oh, you're driving?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, so let's use the graphics library. So, couple of things. As I said, you don't have to have this open to use it. You never even have to look at it to use it. I'm going to do a new file. And, what do I want to call it? I'm going to call it graphic stuff. .py. So if you really want to get sophisticated with graphics, you probably want to go beyond this library eventually and go into Tkinter, which is the real graphics library for this, but it's a little bit more complicated. This is meant to simplify that. It's what they call a wrapper. A wrapper is basically a program written around another program to simplify the interface. And that's what graphics is here. In order to use a library, and this is real key to Python, you need to import it. So you can import graphics. And if you do this way, then every time you refer to the graphics, you need to do graphics dot to get the value, to get what you want. So if you want to do a circle, you do graphics dot circle. If you want to do point, you would do graphics dot point, right? So all the things that belong to graphics, you would have to do that with. You can avoid that. I'm going to comment this. So let's do, you can do that with a slightly different syntax. You can do from graphics import. Now, one of the things you can do is you can import specific things here, which is actually a better plan than what they do in the book, which is this. So that asterisk means import everything. One of the things that VS Code will do as we go on is complain about all the things that we're importing that we're not using. But for now, we'll just do. When you do this version of this, you don't have to write graphics dot. You can just write circle. You can just write point. That makes sense? There are two ways of doing the same thing. Let's do, I'll comment this one and then uncomment the other, and we'll do that, and then we'll come back to this one. So if I want to create a window here, I could do win equals graphics dot, and then I can do graph win. All right, that creates a window.
Same icon.
It should be exactly the same in either. The code in between these two should always be pretty much the same. There will be one variation that I'll show you. All right, so if I comment this and do this one, this one's still good, but I'm going to do win2 equals graph win. I don't have to do the graphics dot anymore, right? I can just get the objects directly. Does that make sense? So he talks about this in the chapter 4. This is one way, a different way to import it, and it's a way where if you import it, then you don't have to do the module dot, the library dot to get the name. If you do this first one, you have to. The advantage of doing the first one is you're not importing anything that you don't need. Whereas if you do the asterisk here, you're importing everything. We'll leave it that way, and I'm going to do a def main here, and we'll just do. So I just want to show you some of the things. So I'm going to do def main, and then we'll do that win equals graph win. And you can put a caption on the graph window if you want. So let's say first graphics. You can also do a comma and give it coordinates if you want. I have no idea what this is going to look like, by the way. So we've created this will create a window. Actually, if I do, so I'm going to do something here, which you do not have to do in idle, but you do have to do here. I am going to do win dot get key. And the reason I have to do it here is that to pause it long enough to actually see the window, because we'll build this up a little. That this is only true in this VS Code. In idle, that's not an issue. Right? In idle, it'll just show the window. Here, it'll show the window and it'll flash and be gone before you even see it. The get key, what it's doing is it's waiting for a keystroke. So it'll hold the window there long enough to see it. So I'm going to go back and do just call main. And what we'll do is we'll build this up a little bit at a time. I'm just going to move that down a little. So I'm going to do F5. And notice we got a little tiny window here. That's what it did. It built a little window. And it says first graphics there, but it's too small to show it. So, I mean, I could adjust. I'm going to stop debugging. So I forget which is width. Second one is width. First one is width. So let's do 400.
Were we all supposed to get a little window?
You should get a little window. Why what?
Mine aired out.
Do you have the graphics library?
Yeah, I did. Well, I downloaded it.
Did you put it in the library where your others are?
Yeah.
So it's listed there?
Yeah.
So it should work. Let's see what the error is. Exception is occurring. Oh, get rid of this stuff at the back. So stop it. With the first two lines there. Yeah, delete those two lines. Those were just samples. We did it in Dawn. And this needs to have a capital. No. Capital G, capital W.
Oh, and not makes the big.
Yes. It's not a function if it doesn't. Graph link, perceptual, get key, move main over. That's right. Module graphics. Did you move the graphics into your folder here? So it's not a new file. Skip. Stop this. But there's no graphics pi, so let's go to download. So download it, right? Not Why? We just downloaded it to the desktop, but the graphics pi isn't there. So let's go to files here. Download. So it should be downloaded. Go to downloads, copy, desktop. Yes. Is this where your stuff is? Okay, I was curious. So it should work now if that's where your programs are. This says Python programs. Where is that? This is on desktop. This is let's just look quickly. So did I just see 110? Do you have the documents, Python programs? I'm going to paste that. I think that's where you actually are. Try it now.
You're able to get it to display.
Okay, so it's right there.
Are you able to get it to display?
Okay. Capital K. Anyone else?
It's really hard figuring out the color. That's the part that gets me is like I have to
It's not
That's fine.
very old.
But then it is weird. It gives you like a thing balance. Per file. Integrated terminal, GTM integrated file.
Yeah, it did fine. That's actually all it is.
The files here.
Yeah, we have to
Stranger.
Anyway, who else? You didn't get it to go?
White paper, I don't know what.
Oh, it goes away once you do it, so just do it.
So just take like everything part of it, I haven't been paying attention to.
It's absolutely vital. Yeah.
Or the, but it's working.
So you must be capitalizing correctly because it is case sensitive.
Light, So, outside 6 and
You put it in the folder where you want it.
Here, oh, you're, this is all mountain range, right?
So where
This is an area that used to.
you guys doing okay? Get key. K is capitalized. That's actually what about 2/3 of the year. Yes. K has capitalized.
This area is mixing.
I don't know about that.
I can go here. Big picture. Take the bus.
That actually, that
But this is nice. This. This is one culture. This is pretty much one culture. This area right here is one culture. This area right here is one culture. Very similar, different, same Spanish. Brazil, Portuguese, Spanish. Very similar. Very similar. Each country is very different. Those speak Spanish. It was in your library.
And then you start drawing here. And you also go
Here. I like to draw. Here, here. There's actually take a trip from here. So this is just holding my route. So you go to all this dumplings, everybody used to have it. So,
try to
like buildings, you know, well, they call it temples, but there were cities. But they had.
those are just the variable names for the circles.
City hall,
I just use
campuses for
brackets.
states.
They have
The world cities here.
and then I guess no,
Oh,
circle that they draw, and you just have to draw. So you basically just have to create circles
There's
and mess around with positioning and stuff. That's just an alternative to get key, so.
So you started second store that because this was one of the first cities that the Spanish had built up. And from there, they started discovering all this little. And they're all cities, they're all little cities. And then it goes down to Tikal, they finally just opened doors, and then there's in the south of here. There's one city here, Bola, San Andres. And then you go to Antigua, Panajachel, it's a cool ride.
All right, so let's do a couple other things with this. Anyone else still? You guys okay? Yeah. Yes, go whenever. I will post this. I just wanted to show a little bit of the graphics library, which is taking, again, longer than I thought. Let's do a quick circle. So this is just a variable name, circ. So actually, before circle, I'm going to do a point equals point, and I'm not sure where I want to put this. I'm going to look in here. This is the hardest part about this when you're drawing stuff, is figuring out the coordinates.
Yeah.
And this, let's just do 1, 0 and see where it goes. So I'm going to say circ equals circle. And when I do the circle, it needs the center, which I'm going to do is point. And then I'm going to give it a radius. How big do we want it to be? So I'm trying to think of how many points. Let's do like 30. We can adjust this if it doesn't work. And then I'm also going to say circ, and I'm going to set fill. We'll just make it red, so it'll be a red circle. And then we're going to draw. And I'll just say draw. And what you draw is you draw it in the window. So you pass that as an argument. Whoa, not warning. Win. So what we've got, we're declaring a window, and we gave it a size. We're declaring a point somewhere in that window, and I'm not entirely sure where that is, so we'll see what happens when we draw it. We'll do a circle. We may want to make this bigger. I'm afraid it might be really tiny. We're giving it a fill, and then we're telling it to draw it. This is fairly typical of graphics when you're dealing something like Python or Java or something like that. Is you basically have to go through and you have to establish all these sets, and you always have to give it XY coordinates, which is the real pain for me.
Is there any easier way of doing that?
Some programs allow you to drag and drop onto a form. I don't know if Python has that. Somebody was using the Python Studio. Were you? No. I mean, there's a pay program. You might be able to get that. Typically, no, but actually, I don't know. I just play with the coordinates until I start to get them right. But I'm going to try running this and see what I get. Oh, my circle's off the screen and very tiny. So I want my center point to be way different than that. Yeah, and the way with the gig key, if I click, if I press any key, it'll go away. I don't know. There it is. So let's move. Where do you think is a good center point?
0, 0.
I think 0, 0 is going to be the top corner.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
probably what I wanted.
45, 45?
We could try 45, 45. So actually, if it's at 400, let's make it 200 should be about center, right? 250, you think?
200, 250 is the exact.
Okay. And then let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's make it, again, this is not, if you were good at math coordinates, you could figure out all of this, because the top one is 0, 0. And then it's done in points across.
Yeah.
So if you knew what your width of your window was, you could calculate where all these things should go. It's just a pain, though. So I'm going to do this and see what we get. That's a better circle, right? We still might want it bigger. So let's do, I'm going to make it 100. This is the last circle I'll do though. Hey. We got a red dot. Does it make sense? There's a whole lot here we could do, and I'm going to do just a little bit. When you try to draw a face, basically that's a matter of positioning circles, right? You can also do lines and arcs, and I don't care how fancy your face is. It can be as stupid as you want. I've had people do really fancy faces, but you can also just do 2 eyes, a nose, a straight line for a mouth. So we should look at a couple of things first. One, I might move it up on the thing a little bit. I think I might move it up to 175. I'm doing this for a reason. I'm going to try to draw a box around it. So, and this is not necessarily the best way to do that. That didn't work. I just moved it over that way. So 200 is good. I'm just going to move this to 200. That should center it. Or close. But that's okay. That looks okay. So what if we wanted to draw a box around this? Let's do that. I'm going to try to do that. So there's also, I'm going to say rec equals rectangle. So you have all these built-in shapes. Now for a rectangle, you need 0.1 and 0.2. And there's a couple of ways you could do that. You could declare a point like we did for this, or we could just give the coordinates. Self we'll talk about later, towards the end of the quarter. Right now you can ignore it. So if the other is 400 by 450, what, 410, 510?
Even though
What?
50, 75.
Well, let's try. What I'm thinking, should it be less? It should be more, right, for the width. Let's just try like 425, 525. I have no idea what that'll do. Now, it won't do anything until we draw it. Rec.draw. I'm not going to fill it yet. And we draw it to win. We always draw it to win. Win doesn't have to be named that, but it's just a short for window. So let's see what I get. I'm doing this by guess and by gob. It gives me all sorts of errors. What did I do wrong about rectangle? Int has no object clone. Let's not go into it. It's debugging the graphics library, which we don't need. Do I need to declare those as points?
Yes.
So let's do. So if I did point XY, yeah, we need 2 points.
And then it does the top left point and the bottom
Right.
right.
So the top left would be somebody who's thinking faster than me. So we want it on the outside of that, would be like 175? Well, I want to put it outside the circle, around the circle.
Circle's 100.
Circle, well, it's 100 across. The first coordinate for the circle, though, is this is the center of the circle.
200, so it's a radius of
The radius of 100, so it'd be,
300.
I think you're right, 3.
It'd be
I'm going to do like 315.
100, 100, 250.
Yeah, so the way, as I said, the way I tend to work is just to, by guess and by gob, which is not necessarily the best way. So it's happy, actually that worked perfect. We have squared the circle, which was a mathematical thing for centuries. So I did 100, 100, and 300. So when you do the rectangle, you give it 2 points. Give it these 2 points. I'm going to fill the circle. These, you can see the IntelliSense here. They may not show up in idle. I'm going to do blue. It probably has a capital B. Now, if I do this, oh, and I need to do it before the draw. If you don't do it before the draw, it won't do it. That's going to cover up the circle if I run it right now. See, it just obliterated the circle. So what I want to do is I want to either bring the circle forward or the square back. So let's see if we can do rec dot. We did set fill. I'm just looking for the things. These are all methods and classes. Move, config. Oh, come on, I know there's a thing to get it to go back. Draw, move, introduce. I just want to bring something forward. At the end of the chapter 4, there's a kind of a reference. Get anchor, get height, get pixel, save. Set face, set size, set entry, polygon, get points. If anyone finds it before me. Get center, get pi, circle methods, graphics objects. Oh, come on, there should be. I've set background, that's not what I want. But one way we could do it, though I don't necessarily, if I do the rectangle before the circle, it will work, but I'm pretty sure there's a thing to send to the back. So I copied the rectangle stuff up above the circle. Let's see if it works. Okay. So you can do it by order, you know, but it would be nice to be able to do.
When I did it that way, it made my window go away.
It made your window go away?
When I put it below wind graphic.
It might just be down below.
When it was below there.
We'll get rid of the rack. Now remove the other. So when you're drawing a face, this is kind of what to play with. And I will give you Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, whenever we meet again. I'll give you Thursday to work on this if you need to in class. But I'll show you a couple of other things too. Probably should, if you want to just draw a line, let's draw a line across the circle and then we'll call that fairly good. And I will post all this code. So if we want to just draw a line, they actually talk a little bit in here about doing the face. I'm just looking for a line. If I did drawing a line. So it's just 2 points. And then is there a line object?
Yeah.
So you do like probably like line equals line, and then you just give it a beginning and end point.
You just give it 2 points, yeah. And then draw the line.
So if we wanted to be on the circle, say the bottom half of this circle, so that would be like, so we're at 300. So let's do like 280. Where would it be 280, 280? That wouldn't make sense, would it? Maybe. Notice I'm making point objects inside of here. We're doing objects, which we will talk about later, but these are pre-built. I have no idea.
Wait, so you want them to draw a line across the bottom?
Yeah, so this is too far over. This is more like the second one.
So you'd keep, y would be 280 for both.
This is, so XY. So we go down to, these are at 100, but that's at the top corner.
Yeah.
So the bottom corner over here, I'm just going to say, and then we can look and see. I just wanted to draw a line and let's see what happens. It didn't draw the line. Oh, because I didn't draw it. You do have to draw it. Oh, I don't want to go to. All right. So we have to draw the line. That's not very good. We need way over from that. And why is it? So I'm going down too. So let's try.
For some reason I got a diagonal line.
Yeah, mine is sort of too. I think we need to be.
You mean the same y.
Same Y.
If you want it to be straight.
So the XY should be the same. The Y should be the same, right?